Hello everyone, and welcome to my Young and the Restless official 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Billy's car accident, a medical emergency? Billy Abbott could be the cause of a medical emergency since he may be involved in an impending car accident. Let's talk about a few hints that can indicate peril in the upcoming episodes. First of all, we must acknowledge that a major emergency is in fact imminent. There will be some kind of medical crisis, according to behind-the-scenes information, so Billy might wind up getting involved. In YNR's September 22nd episode, Jack Abbott will say something menacing because Billy is also going crazy. What if Jack's prediction that Billy will be involved in an accident is a sign of an impending collision? Naturally, Jack will truly mean that Billy is irresponsible and headed for catastrophe. Nonetheless, soap operas frequently employ significant dialogue to provide more nuanced clues about what's to come. We wouldn't be shocked if Jack used his crash statement to hint at Billy's possible auto accident. Billy could be involved in a drunk driving accident since he has been drinking more to deal with all the difficulties he is going through. However, Billy's possible crash might instead be the subject of a mystery. What happens if it turns out that Billy's car's brakes have been cut or something? Given that Kane Ashby will direct his fixer to keep Billy's position under control, that might raise suspicions about both Kane and even Michael Baldwin. Even though Michael would never go to such lengths to keep Billy quiet and maintain Kane's plan, he could still be accused. Furthermore, Jack would undoubtedly accuse Kane of pursuing Billy, which might intensify the already existing quarrel. If Billy sustains a bodily injury, Kane and Jack's enmity could get really out of hand. Additionally, Billy and Sally Spectra might be able to mend their relationship through a potentially fatal vehicle accident. It's easy to picture some heartbreaking moments at Billy's comatose bedside, when Sally implores him to return to her. Billy might even awaken a transformed man who is prepared to put his family, Sally, and the things that really matter first. Billy Abbott's world has always been chaotic, but whispers around Genoa City suggest that his latest downward spiral may not just be emotional turmoil, it could turn into a literal, life-threatening disaster on the road. The signs have been building for weeks, and fans who pay close attention know that The Young and the Restless thrives on foreshadowing, subtle dialogue, and dangerous setups that explode into unforgettable cliffhangers. With Billy's reckless choices piling up, his constant battle with addiction, his inability to stay grounded, and his fiery conflicts with Kane Ashby, Jack Abbott, and even Michael Baldwin, the tension has reached a breaking point that could end in screeching tires, shattered glass, and a medical emergency that shakes the Abbott family to its core. Jack Abbott has already issued a chilling warning, a statement that might sound metaphorical on the surface, about Billy crashing into disaster, but soap fans know that dialogue is rarely without layered meaning. What if Jack's words aren't just a brother's frustration but a harbinger of a real crash, one that leaves Billy bloodied, broken, and fighting for his life in a hospital bed? That possibility seems all the more likely given Billy's current state of mind. His drinking has increased, his decision-making is reckless, and his fixation on vengeance and risky choices puts him behind the wheel of destruction. When you add Sally Spectra into the mix, someone who could be the anchor Billy desperately needs, her role becomes crucial, because nothing cements a love story in soaps quite like a near-death tragedy. Sally begging a comatose Billy to come back to her would provide not only heartbreaking drama but also a chance for renewal, for reconciliation, for Billy to rise from the wreckage as a changed man. Still, the looming question remains. Will this accident be entirely Billy's fault, the tragic consequence of his own demons, or will it be the result of something more sinister, like tampered brakes, a sabotage orchestrated by Kane's fixer, or another shadowy player in Genoa City who wants Billy silenced? Because if this turns out to be more than a drunk driving accident, it transforms the story into a whodunit mystery, one where accusations fly and rivalries deepen. Jack will almost certainly point fingers at Kane, escalating their long-standing feud to dangerous new heights, while Michael Baldwin, despite being unlikely to orchestrate such a violent act, could find himself entangled in suspicion simply because of his alliances. Billy's accident, then, wouldn't just be about broken bones and intensive care, it would ripple across Genoa City, inflaming old grudges, igniting new vendettas, and perhaps even giving Billy himself a chance to reset his life, his priorities, and his fractured relationships. Imagine the hospital scenes, filled with grief, regret, and the desperate hope of family and loved ones. Sally sitting at Billy's bedside, whispering promises of a future if only he'll open his eyes. Jack pacing in fury, convinced Kane had a hand in this tragedy. Jill Abbott returning to town, shaken to her core, determined to protect her son but also demanding accountability. Victoria Newman, complicated as ever, caught between her history with Billy and the fragile present, perhaps reminding herself that no matter their differences, the father of her children matters in ways she can't deny. And Kane, cool and defiant, swearing up and down that he had nothing to do with the accident, even as whispers swirl and suspicion gnaws at his every move. This kind of layered fallout is exactly what makes The Young and the Restless thrive, because it's never just about the crash, it's about everything that comes after. Billy waking up could mark the dawn of a new Abbott era, one where he finally recognizes what truly matters, or it could set off a chain of revenge if he learns that someone actively tried to kill him. Either way, this car accident looms as more than just a stunt, it's a turning point, a dangerous fork in the road of Billy Abbott's life, one that will either bring redemption or spark devastation that no one in Genoa City will forget anytime soon. The night that changes everything begins like so many of Billy Abbott's bad nights do, with a cocktail of anger, alcohol, and impulsive decisions. After a heated confrontation with Jack at the Abbott mansion, Billy storms out, slamming the door behind him, furious at being treated like a perpetual screw-up. He insists he doesn't need anyone telling him how to live his life, but the bitter truth is that he is spiraling, drowning in his own pain. He grabs his keys despite being in no condition to drive. The streets of Genoa City are slick with rain, the kind of storm that sets the perfect stage for tragedy. Billy floors the accelerator, ignoring the speed limit, music blaring, headlights slicing through the downpour. His thoughts race faster than the car itself, resentments against Jack, regrets about his family, guilt about his constant failings, confusion about Sally. His mind is a storm within a storm. Suddenly, as he comes around a bend, the car jerks violently. The brakes don't respond. Tires screech. The wheel refuses to obey his desperate hands. A flash of horror spreads across his face as the car careens off the road, metal crunching, glass shattering, before everything goes black. The silence after the crash is deafening, broken only by the hiss of the engine and the pounding rain. It doesn't take long before someone discovers the wreck. A Good Samaritan calls emergency services, their voice frantic as they describe the twisted heap of metal and the unconscious man inside. Paramedics arrive quickly, pulling Billy from the wreckage. His body is battered, blood streaks his face, and he isn't responding. Every second counts. The rain mixes with crimson as they strap him onto a stretcher and rush him to Memorial Hospital. Word travels fast in Genoa City, faster than the storm itself. Within minutes, Jack receives the call that shatters his world: Billy has been in a terrible accident. Jack's face drains of color. Guilt sets in instantly. His last words to Billy were harsh, filled with frustration and warnings that now seem cruel in hindsight. Jack races to the hospital, his heart pounding, silently praying his brother will pull through. At Memorial, the waiting room becomes a battleground of emotions. Jack paces like a caged lion, tormented by guilt. Sally Spector rushes in, visibly shaken, her eyes red with tears. She pushes past everyone, desperate for news, desperate to see Billy. Memories of their fights, their fragile connection, and the way Billy often pushed her away crash down on her. None of it matters now. All she wants is for him to live. When Jill Abbott gets the news, she's on the next flight into town. The matriarch is devastated, shaken to her core, but as always, her grief quickly sharpens into fury. She demands answers. How did this happen? Who is responsible? Was Billy simply reckless, or is there something darker at play? Jill storms into the hospital like a force of nature, and her return ensures that old wounds and new suspicions will soon explode. While doctors work frantically in the operating room, tension outside boils over. Jack cannot shake the feeling that Billy's brakes failing was no accident. He immediately points fingers at Kane Ashby. After all, Kane has been trying to keep Billy under control, using his fixer to manipulate situations and keep him in check. What if Kane went too far this time? The accusation is enough to ignite a war. Kane denies everything, swearing he had no part in the accident, but his calm exterior only infuriates Jack more. The two men nearly come to blows in the hospital corridor, their voices echoing down the sterile halls. Jill is forced to step between them, her fury split equally at both men, at Jack for goading his brother into reckless behavior and at Kane for his shady dealings that make him look guilty even when he swears innocence. The crash, instead of uniting the family in crisis, begins to rip them further apart. While the feud rages on, Sally plants herself at Billy's bedside. The doctors confirm he's in a medically induced coma to allow his body to heal. Machines beep steadily, each sound both a comfort and a torment to Sally. She takes his hand, tears streaming, whispering words only he can hear. She tells him she needs him. She tells him to fight. She promises that if he comes back to her, they can start fresh, they can build something real. It's a gut-wrenching vigil that fans will recognize as one of those pivotal soap moments, where love is tested in the shadow of death. Sally's heartbreak makes her more sympathetic than ever, and the audience feels every ounce of her desperation. Victoria Newman also arrives at the hospital, torn between her history with Billy and the reality of their fractured relationship. She's there for the sake of their children, but being in that waiting room stirs up old feelings she thought she buried long ago. Watching Sally by Billy's side, Victoria feels a pang of jealousy she can't quite explain. She tells herself it doesn't matter, but the sight of Sally clutching Billy's hand gnaws at her. Victoria quietly checks in with Jill, and the two women, though often at odds, find common ground in their shared love and concern for Billy. For Victoria, the accident is a painful reminder that no matter how far she distances herself, Billy will always be a part of her heart and her family. As the dust settles, detectives begin investigating the crash. Was it simply a case of drunk driving, or was something more sinister at play? The mechanic who inspects the wreckage confirms that the brakes were indeed tampered with. Suddenly, what looked like Billy's self-destruction becomes a possible attempted murder. Suspicions swirl like a storm. Jack remains convinced Kane is behind it. Kane points the finger elsewhere, perhaps suggesting someone like Adam Newman, who has his own complicated history with Billy. Even Michael Baldwin's name is dragged into the mess, though he vehemently denies any involvement. The investigation breathes new life into the storyline, transforming Billy's accident into a mystery that stretches beyond personal tragedy into a dangerous web of deceit and sabotage. Jill, never one to sit quietly while her son lies broken, takes matters into her own hands. She vows to uncover the truth, no matter how many enemies she makes along the way. Her determination puts her in direct conflict with Kane, who insists she's barking up the wrong tree. Jill doesn't care. She knows the Abbott family has its enemies, and she intends to smoke them out. Jill's presence intensifies every scene, her rage, her vulnerability, her refusal to back down make her the emotional backbone of the storyline. For days, Billy hovers between life and death. Sally barely leaves his side. Jack alternates between fury and guilt. Jill demands justice. Kane fights to clear his name. Then, in a dramatic moment tailor-made for sweeps, Billy finally opens his eyes. The room erupts in relief, but the moment is bittersweet. Billy is disoriented, weak, and haunted by the crash. Did he see someone tamper with his car? Did he notice anything suspicious before the accident? His fragmented memory becomes another piece of the puzzle, one that could either confirm or shatter suspicions about who's to blame. But more importantly, Billy's brush with death forces him to reevaluate his life. He sees Sally's devotion, Jack's guilt, Jill's pain, and he begins to wonder if this is his second chance, a chance to put his demons behind him and finally embrace the things that truly matter. The accident leaves ripples throughout Genoa City. Sally and Billy's bond grows stronger, but will Victoria let go so easily? Jack and Kane's feud intensifies, threatening to tear apart not just families but also business alliances. Jill's investigation uncovers shocking secrets that could reshape alliances in unexpected ways. And the looming question, who tampered with Billy's brakes, hangs over every scene like a storm cloud waiting to break. Was it Kane, seeking control? Adam, seeking revenge? Or someone else entirely, lurking in the shadows? The accident may have nearly destroyed Billy, but its aftermath sets the stage for months of drama, mystery, and emotional upheaval. Detective Chance Chancellor takes the lead on Billy's case, and from the beginning, he knows this won't be simple. A car accident that turns into an attempted murder investigation is bound to uncover secrets people would rather keep buried. Chance quickly rules out mechanical failure as the cause. The brake line had been deliberately cut. This isn't negligence, this is intent. Someone wanted Billy Abbott dead. But who? Billy's reputation makes the suspect list long. He's angered rivals, betrayed allies, and pushed away loved ones. As Chance begins questioning, he realizes almost everyone in Billy's orbit has a reason, whether it's revenge, control, jealousy, or business rivalry. Each suspect offers layers of drama, each conversation dripping with tension as Chance pushes for answers. Naturally, all eyes turn to Kane. His fixer has already been caught doing shady errands for him, and his hostility toward Billy has been no secret. Kane insists he never wanted Billy dead, he only wanted him silenced, manageable, contained. But when Chance confronts him, Kane slips up, his tone defensive, his words sharp. He accuses Jack of manipulating the narrative to pin the accident on him. He claims Jack is using the tragedy to destroy him. But Kane's evasive answers and his shady dealings make him the prime suspect in everyone's eyes. Jack, fueled by guilt and rage, practically demands Kane's arrest. He argues that Kane had the means, motive, and opportunity. But Chance isn't convinced it's that simple. Kane might look guilty, but soap mysteries are never solved on the first suspect. If anything, Kane's obviousness makes him feel like a red herring, a distraction from the real culprit lurking in the shadows. Michael Baldwin's name enters the conversation in surprising ways. Though he insists he would never physically harm Billy, whispers about his partnership with Kane and his deep involvement in shady legal maneuvers put him under scrutiny. Chance questions Michael, and while he keeps his composure, he bristles at the idea of being a suspect. He reminds everyone that as Genoa City's DA, he has too much to lose. But is that also why he'd cover his tracks so carefully? Michael's role in this saga adds another layer of intrigue. He may not have cut the brakes himself, but could he have orchestrated someone else to do it? No mystery in Genoa City is complete without Adam Newman's name hovering like a storm cloud. Adam has a long, twisted history with Billy. Their rivalry goes back years, rooted in pain, betrayal, and loss. Adam has tried to turn over a new leaf more than once, but Billy's accident reopens old wounds. Many suspect Adam may have had enough of Billy's provocations and decided to end things once and for all. When Chance questions him, Adam is uncharacteristically calm. He insists he had nothing to do with it, that he's focused on his family and business. But Chance sees the flicker in Adam's eyes when Billy's name is mentioned. It's the look of a man haunted by unfinished business. Even if Adam didn't cut the brakes, his presence in the suspect pool injects the investigation with familiar, combustible energy. Perhaps the most shocking name to surface is Victoria's. No one wants to believe that Billy's ex, the mother of his children, would stoop so low. But when emotions run high, anything is possible. Some speculate that Victoria, tired of Billy's chaos and fearing for the well-being of their kids, may have reached a breaking point. Could she have arranged for Billy to be taken off the board permanently? It sounds extreme, but soaps thrive on shocking twists, and Victoria's icy pragmatism has been shown before. She denies it vehemently, her outrage genuine, but the mere suggestion rocks the Abbott and Newman families alike.